Mix 107.5. There's Ava Max, Sweet But Psycho. We're here on the Mix with a very, very special guest, Mr. Rick Padilla, U.S. Army veteran, joining us here in the studio. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Good morning.
You brought
Thank you for coming.
A friend
Hi,
with you
JJ.
too, Mr. JJ.
Good morning, JJ.
Say hi, JJ.
He's
That's okay.
He's in the zone.
You got a buddy here in the studio. Rick, Terry's been following your journey, and Terry talked about it a little bit on air, I think, earlier this week.
I did.
Rick is the gentleman that's doing the 2.2 mile ruck daily in honor of the 22 veteran suicides per day. Rick and I got a chance. We were talking in the studio. Mayor Mike was here. Rick was letting us in on some stuff, and some pretty heavy stuff, guys, because there's no other way about this, Rick. I don't think you would appreciate if we sugarcoated it all for our listeners.
No.
The reality is what you're fighting against is a huge problem, and it's more than 22 per day.
Correct. And then so just to give you guys a kind of a realization, in the 20 years we were in, Iraq and Afghanistan, we lost about 2,700 service members. Now, as of 2021, we've lost 30,177 service members to suicide. And, that's...
Wow.
That number continues to grow, unfortunately. It's a lot more prevalent and it's a lot more common because it's kind of a two-factor thing. So we have the culture of being in the military. You don't want to be the weak link. You want to be the strong one from the team. You want to be somebody that you can rely on and count on. And that has the downside of you don't talk about what you're feeling. You bottle it up, you keep going, and that's just what you do. And then you have the other factor of when you get out, you are basically ripped from your identity. So, like for me, I was a Black Hawk pilot in the Army. I was medically retired, and I was no longer a Black Hawk pilot. So I spent the last 7 years, and some service members go 20, 25 years of doing this career, doing the military their whole life, and they get out and they're like a piece in the wrong puzzle.
You have a very specialized skill set. I don't see many people using Blackhawks around town.
No, exactly.
So what were you to do, right? That was your
Exactly.
job, and all of a sudden you didn't have a job.
Exactly.
You didn't have
But
what
I
you had been
think
trained for.
More than a job. Like you said, that was your identity.
A life.
Exactly.
That was what defined you.
Exactly.
And now you have that no longer.
Hey.
So with that, Rick, what depression sets in and anxiety and all of that.
Exactly. And then another issue is a lot of us have seen and lost friends, and then survivor's guilt comes into play.
Right.
I had that as well. There was some good people I met over there who unfortunately didn't come back. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm this young 7-year guy, and this person's been in 15, 20 years, seeing things I've never dreamed of. And they are the ones that don't make it back. How is that fair? And it eats at you. It makes you kind of feel like you were given something that you really didn't deserve. And so, it gets at you. And then unfortunately, a lot of us deal with a lot more loneliness than we like to talk about. Even if you see somebody who's like the happy-go-lucky guy or the always smiling guy, a lot of people, look at, I always think about Robin Williams. He told the funniest jokes. Everybody loved him from kids all the way to adults. And you see how his story ended.
You would have never known
Exactly.
from the outside looking in.
What was the turning point? Because you said that off air when we were talking, you said that it was several years before you found a purpose with this. What was the factor? What started this? What made you start this mission? Because it goes deeper than just this walk, Terry. Rick's got all kinds of things in the works, ideas and plans and a vision for helping these individuals.
I think the thing that was kind of like the catalyst is I got tired of feeling like I wasn't me anymore. I had created this life where, I believed I was here to save people. That's why I wanted the medevac mission. That's why I became a pilot, is because I wanted to be part of that. And when I got out, and because I was broken, I was not the man who I would be proud of. And I've said it before in my videos. I was not a very good husband, not a very good father, just because of what PTSD had done to me. And it caused some strifes and caused some difficulties. And I finally just realized I had enough of it. I wanted to get back to who I was, and be a voice to help people understand that PTSD is not the end of your story. And so that's kind of where I started getting these ideas, these things that I wanted to do, these plans. And then this walk right now, unfortunately, it was triggered by, I had lost a friend recently. Someone who I never thought, once again, he was one of the strongest leaders I've known. And he taught me a lot. And just to see that he was hurting that much alone, I knew that I had to be more proactive about it. So this is kind of like my step towards creating the environment where the veterans feel like they can actually speak and be heard. Because that's one of the major problems is you go to talk to somebody and they aren't as receptive as you were hoping, or they don't really seem to think it is a big deal. So now you're like, okay, well, clearly there's an issue with me, and I need to, maybe I shouldn't just speak about it anymore and just let it die out.
This is a huge issue, right? It's nationwide.
Oh, yeah.
And this is not just going to change overnight. This is going to be a process that's decades in the making. And I'm sure you're not the only one either doing this. The month of May is set aside for this walk every day. To acknowledge and recognize. You have so much information. You share so many insights on your walks. He walks out there, Terry, and if you see Rick, if you see Rick walking alone at night and talking to himself,
just go join him.
He's making a video.
Yeah, just don't worry about the crazy guy walking and talking.
How do we find you on Facebook?
So it's just Richard PA. That's just the name that I go under on Facebook. I'm also I'm using TikTok as well. It's just Hobo on a Hilo 2.
Hobo on a Hilo 2.
I love that.
I'm going to follow you right now. That's awesome. This is incredible. I figured your videos were Facebook. He didn't use any of the Facebook or the TikTok filters, Terry.
No, none at all. I wanted to bring Rick on also because you're trying to start this incredible foundation, this incredible non-profit organization.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a big task to take on.
It is. It's it's a lot.
So would it be fair to ask if any of our listeners could kind of maybe guide you to get in touch with you? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm pretty lost in the woods, but I'm starting to figure it out. It's just like you said, it's just I would really appreciate any help and any critiques I could get out there.
Awesome.
Exactly.
You have one more thing I want to talk about. You have another acronym. We talked about PTSD. You've got a new acronym.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
So I call it PTG, which is post-traumatic growth. And the reason why I want to focus on that too is just because a lot of people see PTSD, like I said, like it's the end of their story, when really it's a chapter in your story. And you have to give the ability to yourself to, I think the hardest issue is a lot of people don't accept that they have PTSD or accept that they're feeling these things until it's too late. I think that a lot of people see it as a weakness to accept these things, which it's not, because you have to give yourself the ability to, you can't fix a problem until you see what the problem is, And so that's part of the post-traumatic growth journey, is accepting what is there, but also accepting that you can change it. Like, you have the power to change it. You have a lot more than power than you think you do. I mean, I'm an example of it. Like, I was down a dark road for those 3 years. I was not in a good place, and I kind of sort of strong-willed myself to get to a good place, but I don't want people to go through that 3 years that I did. I want them to be able to have what I didn't have getting out.
I just think it's incredible, Terry, that Rick is here sharing his story, being so open about your own struggles, because that's the kind of encouragement that your brothers and sisters need.
Exactly. That's the reason why I started doing all these TikToks, is because I wanted to create and show people like, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable here so you can too. Because that's the only way you fix this problem, is just to be vulnerable about
Exactly.
That takes a lot of courage, Terry.
Yeah.
Hobo on a Hilo 2, Rick PA on Facebook. I'm not going to tell you where he walks.
Yeah, because
We have some weirdos listening, but listen,
wow,
I'm being real, Terry. Rick doesn't need to
Oh,
be
yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
know.
someone who's this? Heard you on the radio.
hey, you're the guy on the radio.
But if you want to reach out to Rick, I'm sure that he would like some company. Maybe if you
Yeah,
want to
of
get talk about these issues, and also anyone with some resources, ideas, the ability to help, also build this vision. Reach out, Rick. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm
really
glad
appreciate
to
it.
be here. I appreciate you guys.
This has been awesome, man, and I hope you come back and tell us more as the journey progresses and as things start to happen. I want you to come back and tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'd love to be back whenever you want me.
Thank
Good,
you, sir.
great.
All right, keep it right here on the mix.
Wait
Coming
a
up-
minute, we
What?
got to give a shout out to somebody.
Oh, that's
yes,
right.
So, Harper Ray and Eli, I love you guys very much, and this is me saying hi to you on the radio.
Very cool. JJ, you want to say hi to anybody?
Nope.
No.
He said no. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
We
you.
love having you here. All right, Terry, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll get Jared up here for his entertainment trivia.
Yes.
We'll do Dumb Butt in the News.
Yes.
Chew on this.
Yes.
And we got an interview with Aaron
Aaron
Birch.
from the United Way.
That's right. A busy 9 o'clock hour coming your way. Keep it right here on Mix 107.5.
Spinning the throwbacks and feel-good hits. Commercial free. Right now on The Mix.